Hi everyone, welcome to a special webinar where we have flipped it a little bit. This time we have parents of some of our successful athletes here tonight to give us some background and some tips and guidelines on what they've done to help raise some very successful athletes. Again, I'm sure you'll recognise them when we dive into it. I'm the moderator, David Robertson. The host for the webinar is Didi Cordova, Coach Didi. This was his idea, his brainwave. So why don't Didi, we start off by telling everyone kind of why this came about and where the idea came from.
Sounds good. Well, the idea was sparked when we started, obviously the quarantine and we went into these Zoom meetings. I was fortunate enough to coach actually probably three of the kids or three of the families here, the Doms, Witherspoon, and Niko Hansen. That being said, I was able to get Niko and Ahkello on my first Zoom meeting, and it sparked the idea of possibly educating the parents. So I thought these parents could help us out, and I tried to center this meeting more or less around sideline behavior and parenting a youth athlete, because obviously they were successful in what they did. I'm sure we're going to get different types of answers, but there should be some type of consistency and a few of the things that we look for. And more or less too, I've had a chance to coach different age groups, and it's funny to see how the younger ages parents are on the sidelines, to the middle age groups, to the older age groups. So just wanted to, pick their brain and see where we go with this, and hopefully we can help our club out. And just thank you to you four for agreeing to come on and do this as well.
Thanks, Didi. And as a parent of a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old that's just getting started, I'll be listening very intently. They'll probably be listening as well. You'll probably hear the door banging in a few minutes in the spirit of shelter at home. You'll probably hear a bit of background noise. So we'll dive right in. I'm just going to show a quick visual to give everyone an idea of who we're speaking about, if you will. We have Maya Doms, Jalil Anibaba, Niko Hansen, and Ahkello Witherspoon. So Maya's mom's on. Maya's mom is?
Clariza Doms.
And Jalil's dad is on. I'm sure we all know in the Legacy family.
Jammal Anibaba.
Or Uncle Jam, as his screen name was when he came on. I changed that for you. Okay, and then we have Niko Hansen's mum.
Hi, Monica.
And we have Ahkello Witherspoon's dad.
Hi, I'm Lucky.
Okay, well, I know this is a pun you've probably heard a lot. We're lucky as well to have you, so thank you. So yeah, why don't Didi? You actually, I would delight actually just to set the tone. I think in the soccer circles we've seen a lot of Niko and Jalil certainly, and Maya. We've had them on already in interviews. Tell us a little bit about Ahkello's soccer career. Obviously, he's a NFL star, and I'll be honest, I can't quite remember him a whole lot. So why don't you tell us when he played? And I don't want to steal away from the interview too much, but probably a little bit of background on his soccer would be awesome before we dive into the questions.
Yeah, he started with San Juan, and eventually he ended up playing with Davis Legacy. But San Juan is where he started his soccer, probably at about 9 years old, so far as competitive is concerned. Prior to that, he played rec in the Thomas Soccer Club.
Great. Well, we're glad he was part of Legacy for some period of time, and the connection that you made and he made with Didi's certainly brought us full circle. So great, good to know. And then I think we all know the backgrounds on the other players as players that have played through the club most of the time. Niko, in his last couple of years, did move on, to develop his career. Maybe we'll talk about that, about the right environment at some point. And Jalil and Maya were lifers. So, Didi, at this point, I'll give you the mic. I did actually want to start with a quick video that just came up before we start. This is probably one of the best videos I've seen in parent education that I just came across yesterday. It's from Robin van Persie, former Man United star, Dutch national team forward. And I think this may set the tone, or I'm sure there'll be some things you guys can relate to. So we'll listen to Robin van Persie, and then Didi, we can go with the Q&A. So we have this here. Robin van Persie talks about winners take control, and he's talking about his son.
I actually had this chat last week, funny enough, seriously, with my son. So my son plays at Feyenoord. He played against Ajax under 14. He was on the bench. He didn't play. So in the car on the way back, he was like a bit moody, disappointed, complaining a little bit about others, about the coach, etc. And then I said, but Shaquille, I said, you sound like a loser, you know, if you talk like this in a way, you sound like you lost. I said, you are blaming him, you're blaming her, you're blaming this, you're blaming everything. I said, but I don't hear one single thing about yourself. I said, winners, I said, they take control and they blame themselves and they look where they can improve, yeah? And this is what you should be thinking about. So I didn't tell him what he should think about. You should ask yourself the question, are you a loser or are you a winner? I said, for me, it doesn't matter. I said, because I'm your dad. I said, the only job I have and your mom has is when you're 20, that you're a good boy, that you're ready for life. You know, you can make your mistakes, you can do what you want. I love you for the same amount. It doesn't matter for me if you make it as a football player or not. I said, but you say that this is your passion, so you should take control of your life and stop complaining, because it sounds like a loser. I said, and I don't mind. If you want to be a loser, be a loser. I still love you as much. I said, it doesn't matter for me. I said, but if you want to be a winner, take control of your life and stop complaining about others. And then I watched him train the next morning. My wife said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to watch this session. 2 days later, actually, because they played on Saturday and Monday morning. So I'm there sitting, cold, hoodie on. I'm looking and I see this tiger training, running, working. And I was like, okay. He realized he has to take control of his life. He's 13 now.
All right, so I thought that was a good message to set the tone, and maybe you guys have been there. So, Didi, you got the mic.
Very cool. Thank you. All right, so let's just dive into it. For essence of time, and obviously we all have some things to do. All right, so obviously I've had a chance to either coach one of your kids or Jammal. You know, we've been colleagues since, it's been over 10 years now. Knowing all of you, you're all really good. You know, very very great character people, very respectful people, but yet passionate in your own way. My first question to you is, how would you describe your parenting style on and off the field, and were they different? Let's go ahead and just go down the line from what I see here. So Jammal, I'll let you go ahead and go first.
For us, the Anibaba family is like first generation immigrants. So I didn't know better about American sport. So pretty much all I did was raise my kids the old country way, the way I was brought up. Pretty much, I set a hard parameter and they stay in it. So by the time I brought them out to the field to play rec league, they were already disciplined. They know you don't let anybody else outwork you. And we were fortunate when we started with the rec league. AYSO has a system where they rank teams. So for this essence of balancing all the teams, so that if you have a couple of good players on your team, they kind of level it up with and saddle you up with weaker players. I think that's really one of the main things that helped my boys, because they were playing with a lot of weak players and they learned how to give silver play passes. They learn how to work extra hard for their teammates. And all that came handy. So by the time we went to Legacy, they were already ahead. So discipline-wise, they know. Because when you get on the pitch, it's an opportunity, so you go perform and no drama. So we never really had problem. We never really had issue.
Same at home?
At home, my home is run like a military, but military quarters. So they have pretty much all they needed. They have pretty much what they needed, but they are not allowed to be out sunsets. No. So they know they got to be in the house by, if we're not at practice field, they know they got to be in the house by 5 o'clock. No excuse. So, and I had to go to work in Sacramento, so I'm at my desk by 6 a.m. So when they leave in the house, they call me every morning. Daddy, we're leaving now. So it's pretty much run based on trust. So once in a while, if a kid wants to be kid, I make sure I nip it in the bud. So by the time I brought them out to the public, zero drama.
Okay, good deal. Monica, how would you describe your parenting style and on and off the field, and say that they were the same?
Well, Nikolai and Shannon were born in Denmark, and we didn't move here till they were 10 and 9. So their soccer was really different there. It was, you didn't play soccer like in school. It was club soccer all the way from when Nikolai started when he was 2. And so it was, I mean, you had to be at practice and you had to be ready when practice started. You had already to be warmed up. So when we first got here and we went to, like the first time we went to training, we got there about 30 minutes before practice started and nobody was out there. And we're looking around and we're like, did we get the time right? And, you know, so it was, for Nikolai, he kind of got, I think, a little bit lazier because the practice here was different. You know, people showed up right at 6 o'clock, you know, and he was used to already being there, warmed up, you know, when the coach got there. So he already had a lot of discipline from Denmark. And at home, they just had to, you know, stay up with their studies, keep their rooms clean, and that was that. I was pretty lenient otherwise, I think. So. Okay,
good deal. So more laid back, though the rules were kind of set for them through the football, and you followed through with the same at home.
Yeah.
Okay. Clarissa, how about yourself? You want me to repeat that question?
No, I got it.
Okay.
So as you know, Rocky and I are parents of twins, so one shot to get it right, and mistakes made along the way. But as far as parenting style at home, you know, it's a balance. It's being nurturing, but setting clear expectations, which my kids interpret as being strict. But I compare myself to my mom, and I'm thinking, no way am I strict. But compared to their friends, I'm strict. And, you know, and it's, and having twins, just recognizing the individuality, right? So how does that translate to being a parent on the sidelines? I would say knowing your role, for one. AYSO, you're coaching and bringing snacks to club. You stop at the fence, and so you know your limit, and really emphasize the things that you've been instilling through the years, which is show up on time, be prepared,
be respectful, enjoy your teammates, and put your best out there. And if they love the sport, they're going to have fun, and all those things will come into place if it keeps getting hammered home.
Awesome. Thank you. Lucky.
Yes, sir.
Would you like me to repeat any part of the question, or you good to go?
No, I'm good to go.
All right.
It's the same on the soccer field, same on every sports field that he's played on, same in the household, same it is today as a pro. It's always been love and discipline, and the discipline, of course, is the strict part, the hard part, the part that's uncomfortable, and the love is the balance. And it's dictatorship for sure. I mean, he didn't have much say so far as once he began something, whether it be sports or prayer or school, he didn't have much say so. Once he decided that he was going to do something, then I made sure that he knew how to navigate through whether it be soccer, whether it be classroom, whether it be things that were uncomfortable at school. So I still helped him navigate, just as I do now as a pro. But it's his baby. School's never been for me. Soccer's never been for me. Baseball, football, nothing. It's always been for him. So just love and discipline. And as you and I have spoken before, as long as he's got passion, I got his back.
That's right. And I think like you have all said, discipline actually came, I think, out of all of your mouths. I think that's a big part of parenting, is just that, and them realizing that it's just discipline is love. At the end of the day, if you don't love them, you don't discipline them.
Can I call in my 7-year-old son? I just told him he couldn't play video games. You can tell him that for me. as a really hard one to implement during the sheltering place.
It is tough.
Limited screen time is pretty tough because there's not a lot to do. But yeah, great answers.
Yeah. I mean that's huge.
Yeah.
So going on to that, let's build off the sidelines a little bit here. Obviously, they all played youth sports. Okay, they played youth sports from 4 or 5 years old all the way through, to the university, college level, professional level, right? So we see this a lot. I've seen it as a coach. I've seen it as a parent. That especially the first-time parents going through it that started off with the kids. The energy behind a U6 game is just crazy. People are going nuts, and you're barking at your kid, and you almost want that because it's just you live in that moment. You want you're showing your 6-year-old passion that you just love it. You want to be there for them, but with that comes some type of education too, right? We as they grow older, we want them to be well coached, to show us what they're learning on the pitch or on the court or on the field. So that being said, would you say that your style on the sidelines, your parenting style on the sidelines, changed throughout the process of them being young to growing and going off on their own now? And let's elaborate on that a little bit. Clariza, I'll let you go first here on this one.
Yeah, I think it changes over time because obviously of their personal development, and Maya's in the middle of her freshman year and she has her challenges, and you see challenges academically, staying on top of things. They just came off of season and she was always tired and really missing home. She hadn't been home April 6th till Christmas break. And we're pretty close. We talked every day. So I think that the limits just change, right? You become more of emotional support. Just like you said, they've been playing sports and different sports since probably, 4 for them, for my kids. So they've learned all the things that they need to do to get the job done or to meet their responsibilities. So it's nice seeing that right? You see that you see that your kids are following through with what they need to do, but the first year of going away to college was really rough for her. You know, she got to start, and that's a great thing, but there's a lot of pressure that she put on herself, and that was, I get emotional thinking about it, but it was that was a challenge for us to support her, just keep her positive. Because on the outside, it must look great. You're playing at Stanford, you're starting, but she was in a real safe place being with the same girl she played with at AYSO for years. And it wasn't about, oh, she wasn't one of the strongest out there. It's not that. It's just that safety, the feeling of security you have being with your friends and being playing amongst the best of the best and hoping that you don't mess it up.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Let me add this to the question too. Again, we start off with the energy at the younger age groups, and I'm gonna bring this in because we see some of this at the club now too. Okay, and I'm sure some of you have either saw it or lived through it as well, where parents start to change even at the end again because they'll start to go crazy because of scholarships, and you feel the pressure of trying to help out some way, or you're really talking up your kid and these things, and then you got teammates and other parents chiming in and just those pressures that come along. How did you handle that?
Well, it happened a very young age, which I'm sure with all your kids, because they're all talented, but we didn't know anything about the whole system. So we learned about things as they came. What is PvP? Where am I driving to? Because I'm not driving there with a coach or the team. We got the first letter from U.S. Soccer about the TC. What's the TC? I remember calling Adam and saying, "What is this? Is this for real? And do I take her? Because that means I have to take the day off from work." And he said, "You really should go." So the whole process was learning each step, and then when it came to the process of recruiting, it happened early, and I really relied on Adam. I relied on Alex and Robo, because they knew the system, and when it came time for her decision, it was early. She had visits scheduled, upcoming visits scheduled, because it was over the summer where she had some visits planned out with a couple UC schools. But Adam said, "There's never the right time to commit. It's whatever fits or whatever works best for your daughter, and wherever her dreams may lie, that's where she commits." And that's kind of a hard thing to do when your daughter's 14.
Oh, cool.
So how do we handle the pressure? Well, we didn't add to the pressure, and we just really kept the conversation flowing with all those coaches. Even Rosie, I remember even contacting Rosie. So.
Awesome. Thank you. That was really good feedback. Lucky, go ahead. You want to jump in on this? I know Ahkello played a couple different sports. So
Right.
again, let's start off with your the way you evolved either throughout the process or if it changed at all. And at the end, did the pressures of a scholarship or anything like that change you again? Did you have to adapt, and or was it more or less fluid and you kind of kept the same demeanor throughout?
Well, the difference for Ahkello is I coached Ahkello in baseball, basketball. And so at 4 years old, while I had developed a style of affecting other.
Oh, you froze.
Yeah.
Looks like he froze. Maybe he'll come back. Yep.
That whenever I yell, or whenever I'm making noise, it makes him nervous, and that he's not at his best. And he was about 4 or 5 years old. He said, if I don't yell, he can hear me. And if I yell, he can't. And so I developed a style of everything he does is either perfect or almost perfect, the same as I did everyone else's children. So it just made it really, really comfortable. And I've done the same thing throughout, every team he played for. Didn't do the yelling and screaming, and did most of the education, whether it be at practice or in the car, and that's just kind of the way we did it. So no yelling and screaming. Didi can probably attest to that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All of you were actually very good on the sideline. I mean, that was part of you bringing you guys on. How about the scholarship side of it? Let's say from 15, 16, 17 on.
Again, he wasn't a very big athlete. He wasn't athletic. He just had a lot of skill, thanks to coaches like yourself, and so he was able to perform at a pretty good level. But he didn't really get athletic until probably his senior year in high school. So there were no scholarships for him. He switched sports to football. No scholarship offers. Besides the medical school offers. And so he went to junior college. They won one game out of 9, and he got recruited by 12 teams. Nobody knew about it. No fanfare. The only person who got a scholarship off that team at Sac City. So everything for him was really quick, and kind of just the way we like it. Just he's a very quiet, cerebral kid, and we didn't do AAU. He's probably still not known very well because we didn't do all the the stuff with the social media and things like that. It's not really his style, but he loves what he's doing and he can play.
Excellent. And it's good to hear that side of it too. I mean, the whole route of going through JC ball. We have plenty of players that are going to go through the route of either going through 4-year or whatnot. It's big time. That he continued that. So.
And I think it's an interesting contrast to Maya's path, where girls, and Monica and Jammal, girls certainly are recruited a lot younger. That is hopefully changing with some new rules that they brought out. But it's amazing, 2 different paths, one at 14 and one through the JC routes, and there's many different ways to arrive. And I think the thing I hear a lot is people starting to panic at 16, 17 when they don't have a place to play yet, or they've not got their scholarship, and it can happen in many different stages, the same way as you can see kids come in so young and then it doesn't work out for them. By the time they get to their senior year, it's not right. So I think that's a very good contrast between I wouldn't say a late bloomer per se, but just somebody that arrived on the big scene a little bit later than someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good story too. Monica.
Yeah. Definitely the sideline cheering changed. Lucky I coached Nikolai and his dad, and we coached Nikolai for, 4 years till he was under 9. And so for me, it was when we first got here, it was kind of difficult not to be that coaching person. So I really had to just, tell myself, okay, the coaches are doing their job. I just need to say, go Nikolai, go team. So for me, that was hard to step back. And, but, actually, Didi, when you coached the kids, you told us, don't coach the kids from the sideline. That's my job. You guys just yell. And so that really helped me to go, oh yeah, I guess, that's what we're paying you for. I need to just be happy for him. And then for Nikolai with his recruiting, he actually went to Denver with, with Mark's team. They were 3 years older, and that was actually really hard for me to send him because the kids were so much older, and just the conversations that they have, Nikolai, I didn't think he was old enough for those conversations, but and that's where New Mexico saw him and tried to talk to him, and Mark was like, yeah, sorry guys, you can't talk to him, he's not old enough. And so then they just followed him and came to his games and stuff after that when he was at tournaments. and they were there recruiting other people. They would come by and watch a game, but they weren't allowed to talk to him. And so that's how that happened for him. But then he still went on a couple of visits. Like he said, he was never going to go to UC Davis because it was too close to home. But he went on a visit and he came home. He was there for the weekend, and he said, "Oh, that was great. I like that. I would consider them." And then he went to Santa Clara, and he came back and he was like, "Oh, that was even better. I really like that." And then he went to New Mexico and he was like, "That's it. I'm not going anywhere else. I want to go here." So for him, they were talking to him, but not really, for a few years. And then his junior year, he committed. So, and actually, he didn't even tell me about it. The Denver, it was one of the other coaches. It wasn't even Mark. It was the UC Davis, Eric. It was Eric who told me about it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So.
Good deal. Jammal. So Jalil was the first one to go through this of the group. Did you? I know you coached the boys through the younger age groups, and obviously that's a different hat that we wear, because you're coaching them, and you're disciplining a team at the same time. You're trying to groom everybody. So and as Lucky did as well. So how was it for you as a parent once you let them go, and were you? I'm going to give you the coach side of the question. Is like, were you trying to chime in? Were you just because of your habits, or were you did you lay off because you were respected and you knew your place there?
Yeah, once we moved to Legacy, I wasn't coaching them. So, but we've pretty much developed a lot of play calls and code calls for each play and moves, that sometimes when I don't go to all their games, but when I will show up, I'll watch what they're doing, and if they leave something out, sometimes I might say something to them, let them remember, or I might say, "Oh, Rainbow," and then Jamil would then know that, okay, that goalkeeper is off his line. I don't even need to get into the zipper. I jump shot him from outside. So I'll do stuff like that. But as they get older, I just pull back, pretty much. I'll show up, but I'll pull back. Okay. I'll pull back. And for Jalil, by the time he goes Santa Clara or when he become pro, I make sure I did what my parents did for me. I wasn't hoovering over them. He's played with about 5 teams now, and there are places I just wouldn't go. When he played for Kansas City, I didn't go. Because for me, I just like, okay, I've done my part now. You go do it. But what he does is, every time they have game, he will call me before game, and he'll call me after the game when he get out of shower. Or if they have a away game, he'll call me when they get in on the plane, and then when they land, he will tell me, "We just landed in so." So, and he gets it, that I've done my part. I can sit back now and watch what you're gonna do with it. So that, but when I was coaching them in rec league, though, I was loud. You've seen me on the sideline at Legacy. I was loud.
I do want
to cut it out.
Yeah, I do want to say that we had an interview with Jalil last week, and he did attest you being the biggest influence on his career as a parent and as a coach and as a mentor. So you clearly done something right, Jammal. Even I found it fascinating as well, and not to deviate away too much, but he said he speaks to you right after every single game. I'm wondering if is the other parents just a nod or a yes? Do you guys still speak to them right after the game? Do they want to speak to you right after the game, or Lucky saying yeah, Clariza? Does Maya right after the game, would Maya speak to you right after she plays a game, or does she need a bit of time?
She's the last one off the field usually.
Yeah.
But yeah, she always checks in, and when she has away games, if we didn't make them, at club or even college, she just checks in. She knows we want to know.
Niko?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a text that I send him. It's the same thing, just that I send him before a game, and then we talk after the game.
Awesome.
For me, my relationship with Ahkello is what some might call a bit extreme. I talk to him 2 to 3 times a day, still to this day.
Wow.
I just talked to him a few moments ago, and the conversation is never about his physical ability. A few moments ago, he was talking to me about how he spoke to his new coach, and how he just was proud of himself as a man for having that kind of conversation. And I don't know the details of it. He just was explaining, thanks for that kind of. But I've coached. Let me change that. I haven't coached him since he was 4 years old in every game, but I've never missed a game since he was 4 years old. Not in baseball, not in soccer, not in basketball, not in football, not in. I haven't missed a science fair. I just haven't missed anything when it comes to an event. As it goes to my kids' studio, nothing. I just always show up. My impact may just be that. It may just be emotional support because I don't really talk to him about what he's doing, but we just have a streak going now. And I talk to him before and after every game as well.
That's incredible. Wow.
It is.
Aditi, I don't know about you. You're a parent of young kids, and I am as well. And I'm just jealous, envious, hoping that we can have these same relationships many years later. So
yeah, definitely.
You will, yeah.
We'll get into that too in a bit. It was because part of my little thing here, so I set that up towards the end of the talk. But yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. It's good to hear all the all the sides of it and some consistencies as well. Next question for you guys, and this one let's just go random. I'll let you guys go ahead and take it by whoever wants to go first, and we'll break it down that way. What were some of the tougher decisions and sacrifices that challenged your son or daughter socially or academically that you had to make as a family?
I'll go first. Academically, no challenges whatsoever. I've never had a challenge with him academically. I've always told him the school was his, and everything was pretty simple. One time, a little bit of some racial stuff at Jesuit. That was probably the most difficult when it has come to education. But not much else besides that.
Any how about like keeping him away from either going out with friends or any of those types of challenges? I
had a conversation with him a couple of weeks ago where he said, he was bored to death sometimes and sometimes not happy with me, but it wasn't a challenge for me. I kept him away from some family and friends. I kept him away from some church folks. I wish I could have kept him away from a few coaches, but those will not be named. But no, it's just it's part of the job. I mean, I believe I was mom and dad to my little guy, so I did a little both, but not challenging at all.
He's gone.
Anybody want to go?
Yeah.
Any challenges socially or?
Challenges.
Yeah.
Jammal, I'll go. We had to sacrifice when I think his sophomore year or junior year. He came home and he wanted to The high school basketball coach has been after him, and that's right after he made the national team, and I just called him and said, "What would you get from DHS high school basketball game? They've been running a losing streak for a while now. So why are you trying to be Superman? Help me." And then so he said, okay. He went and talked to the coach, and the coach said, "Oh, but you don't have to come to practice." And I said, "Still, you have to figure it out. If you're just doing it not to go to practice, there's no commitment. You have to give something full commitment." So he gave up that. And prior to that, he was playing little league with older guys, but we had to stop him. And then he focused from that point on. By then he already caught fire because I took him on a trip to Africa, and I have him play against 21-year-old guys when he was about 14. And from that point on, I knew he had it. So we came home, and in terms of friends, social friends, we didn't have that because my boys knew by 5 o'clock, everybody's in the house. So, and they already know that if your confidant or your non-Anibaba is your confidant, you're not doing it the right way, because they can't have the same interest your family will have for you.
Yeah.
So we didn't have problem with that.
How about academics? How about like for traveling tournaments or traveling on their own? You know, whenever they had to leave on their own at some point. Any challenges that brought up?
So good question. So with Jalil, I had to hold him back in 3rd grade. And after I did that, I pretty much took him to, I spoke, his teacher called me, we spoke, and I took him early Saturday morning to the park near our house. And I said, we need to talk. Everybody else was still sleeping. We just finished pre-dawn prayer. And I walked him to the park, and I said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And I told him how people I knew growing up, there's difference between being an MD medical person versus just going through the university and you have a degree in some science subject. You're already too young to be in the grade that you are in. So, after I did that, he never looked back. He never took off after that, academically. So I think in the back of his mind, he knows that he's been held back once, so he can't be dilly-dally. You need to stay focused. Because he wasn't gifted like Jammal, where it's just everything was smooth from the beginning till through high school. So that's the only thing. And then when he went to Santa Clara, his study habit from Davis High Schools already prepared him for that. So he never looked back. So
yeah, same for Nikolai. When we first moved here, he started in 5th grade, and he's a little older because in Denmark you start kindergarten at 6 instead of 5. So he was already a little bit older, and I remember he coming home himself saying, 5th grade's too hard here. I need to go into 4th grade. And I'm like, no, you're fine. You just, you need to apply yourself. You're fine. And so he got through 5th grade, and then after that, everything was fine. But he did have, like, doing the competitive soccer and being gone on the weekends, he sometimes did need mental health days from school. And since he was pretty much a straight A student, I never had a problem with him taking a mental health day. So if he needed one now and again, I let him do that.
And I know they went to big tournaments, so they were missing some school. And obviously, was there catch up? Was there anything that, like, any challenges that came up for you on your side as a parent, with either letting him go or with him just staying on track with that? Was there reminders? Was there anything in that sense?
No, he pretty much stayed on top of his school, and then when he got to Jesuit, they like handle that sort of stuff. If he didn't get his work done, he got detention. He had to stay and clean up at lunchtime or whatever. And, so they handled it. So I let him, he never got any in academic trouble at all.
Okay.
And, with soccer, they would leave early, and like his best friend was really academic as well. So he also hung around with the right crowd, luckily. So, they were all into their academics and their sports. So
yeah, and that's huge.
I was lucky that.
And I think it tends to happen where the kids look to their teammates, and because they spend so much time with them, that's the crowd that they kind of continue on with, both on and off the field. So that's good to hear. I think and I'm happy you guys are touching on even the third, fourth, and fifth grades as well, because I think that's we're looking at the club as a whole, and these families go through their different challenges. So thank you for touching on that. And yeah, so it's good to see that the growth and that there was challenges too at that age. Clarissa.
Yeah, Maya's been a strong student. I remember I didn't have to worry. I don't know if it was third grade, but she was crying in her bed because in the dark, I went to say goodnight to her, and she was crying. She got a B on a math test. And I said, wow, do I look upset? She said, no. I said, I don't know why you're upset. So anyway, that set the tone early on that I didn't have to worry about her. But, fast forward to when she got her first call to travel abroad for the national team. From that point on, every month, right, Robo? Almost every month.
Yeah, so, I think she played one game in 7 months for the club because she was at national camp every single
every month. She missed 10 to 14 days.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So she, she gets a little anxious when she gets behind, and even though they offer tutors when they're away at camp, she's really on her own. And so just packing was a big deal. Oh, I have to pack my chemistry book and my blah, blah, blah book. And you only have one little, piece of luggage. But I'm really proud of her because she really had to, she knew how to cram. She had to learn how to prioritize. But yeah, that was this, toward the end, she wasn't enjoying it, with all the travel, and it's really great, right? All these experiences, traveling with your friends from Hawaii and different states. She missed home. She missed her friends. She missed playing high school sports. She actually she probably enjoyed that the most because it tied her to the community. So she just missed being in her bed. She missed a few dances, and toward the end, we made the decisions. We said, "You're going to prom. You're not missing your graduation."
Yeah, elaborate on that story.
Yeah,
I heard about it. Can you elaborate on that one real quick?
Line that, in context, I was giving them that I remember you had to make a tough decision, and in hindsight, it was the right decision. But so
you're going to prom. Yeah, you're going to go to prom.
If I could just give the other side of it, because I got a call from Mark Carr, who was our coach then with the 17s, and she just captained the U17s at the World Cup, and she went with the 20s. I think she went to Sweden, or she went to Spain, and scored a goal, really nice goal against Sweden, and then a month later there was a U23 camp, and as a U17 player, she was invited to the U23s, which is obviously one level below the full national team. And Mark Carr had said, well, Jill Ellis, the then head coach of the US women's team, she's on the radar. This is a good chance for her to go play with full pros, professional players. And the soccer side of me is thinking, it's a no-brainer. It's like you're right one step below full national team. And I remember Clariza saying, and not Clariza, Maya saying, I don't want to miss my prom, I don't want to miss my graduation. That's a non-negotiable. And you know, it didn't spell the end of our national camp opportunities, let's put it that way. So sometimes mama knows best.
Such a cool story.
And Nikolai, he did PDP 1 year. And it was just like every weekend we were driving to Morgan Hill. And he was trying out, and then they get to the next level and they try out, and then they get to the next level and they try out. And then when that was over, he said, you know what, Mommy, I don't want to do this anymore. He said, I'm just trying out all the time. This is not fun. I miss my friends. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to do it anymore. So he just did it that one time. He didn't do it anymore.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just for the record, that was ODP back then.
Yeah. You'll like this. You'll like this. You 13. Jalil got cut. And
So did Nikolai.
Here's Michael Jordan. Jamal,
so did Nikolai. The very last tryout of 2 months, and we get there, and he was like, there was, I guess, 24 kids or something, 20 kids left, and they only took 18, and he didn't make it. And he was like, I don't want to do it anymore anyway. I was like, okay, good, because I'm tired of Morgan Hill.
It's a long drive.
Yeah.
So with all that said, were most of these decisions, obviously you're making them along with them, right? And just by a nod ahead, let's say this: would they agree? Would you always agree with and what happened, or was there any fight back or anything like that?
Go ahead, Clariza.
Oh no, I wouldn't say there was fight back, but I mean, Robo knows this. PDP and the TCs, she would say, do I have to go? And I would say, no, you don't have to go. And I said, why don't you want to go? She said, because everyone is so confident and I'm not. And so, again, through the help of the coaches, because again, that's where I kind of, I support her up to a point, and then she was, whichever coach talked to her found a way to get her there. But
I think the nice thing, the thing about the parenting from you and Rocky is that the naivety of it all. I remember golfing with Rocky, just as I was coaching Maya, and I was with a couple of other people, and it's like, what is this PDP anyway? And trying to explain it a little bit. Okay. And then he was doing a root canal on me one time, and he said, so why does Maya play up a year? Is there something she's doing? I said, that's because she's really good. Is she really that good? I went, yeah, she's really that good. And then she got her first national pool invite, and I went, maybe she is that good. So I think there was a level of an innocent naivety, and there are the families that follow every single PDP, and it's all about that. And I think the process, it sounds like from all of you, the process just kind of took care of itself. So I mean, I can't speak for Monica and Jammal, but I think I know, at least knowing the Doms so well, I think it just kind of happened without you guys really chasing it and pushing it, which is an interesting way for it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, Jalil had Sule and Jamil. They already gone ahead of him, so he kind of have idea what it was. But when he was struggling with Ahkello slaughter, or whatever they call that knee problem.
Slaughter.
So, and they cut him. So I just told him, we're not going back. We don't have enough money to be gassing up and going to Morgan Hill. So if you're good, they'll come find you. So and then we never go back. So
yeah, and that ODP, some of those, I was very out of place at ODP. I mean, those parents, there was one goalie kid who his routine was insane. Like, he had 3 monsters before every tryout, and I mean, they were crazy. At U13, I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
The parents probably had a 6-pack of them too, you know?
Oh,
that added to it.
Yeah, there's that's why we're having you guys on, because
Yeah.
sometimes when other parents see it has been a little bit over the top, it's refreshing that everyone's like that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't make either one of them, and I always if they did started something, I made them finish it.
Yeah.
Then if they didn't want to do it anymore, they didn't have to. But once they started, they had to finish it.
Was there a certain age that was more challenging?
With Nikolai?
Yeah.
No.
Mom?
Yeah, for Jalil, I think when he was U13, U14, we had to kind of like trim some edges because he's not as civil as Jammal on the field. So I just had to sit him down. I sat him down and I told him, you could be better than me, but you got to cut out some of my shortcomings. And then he did. Because he will dribble you, he will dice you, he will tell you what he's going to do. There's a PK. And he loves playing against San Juan. And he loves torturing their pathological parents. So, but I kept telling him, yeah, but you don't need to engage them. Just because they'll be talking, the parents will be talking from the sideline. Just hurt him, and they would throw out the racial card too. But
I would get so happy when Nikolai got a yellow card. Yes.
Yeah. But the for us, there's a lot of things that you just have to keep your dignity, because people, if they can't beat you, then they will try to provoke. And we were lucky. We had Ashley. And even within our clubs, there were people that were throwing racial cards out.
What?
And we eventually, you just have to
Ignore.
But for us, it's hard to ignore.
I know.
Because it's one thing to mumble, it's another thing to throw out the N-word. And then we finally had good people that guide us and said, yeah, if you react, that's what they will see.
You're giving them energy.
So don't react. And I shall always be grateful to people like that forever. Ashley, Alex, they always helping out. And there's some parents too. The Ainsworth, all those people, they say, Jammal, you guys just roll with it. Just roll with it. Don't give them that. And that's how we survive it. That's how we survive it. Living in this village help us survive it. Knowing that you have a lot of people watching your back. So by the time Jalil get to the higher level, it doesn't matter anymore because they already know how to handle it. So it worked out. It worked out on the long run.
Good deal. Well, Clariza, did you have any? Would you say any ages where, or any specific age was more challenging?
I think that the time where it's a challenge anyway with teens, where you have to know where your limits are and allow them to be a teen, and so once they start driving and they think they've got it all, they got a car, they have an ATM card, they know how to make the right decisions. So you just, it's not just soccer, right? It's the part of soccer that we help them take care of, which is, are you getting enough sleep? Doesn't seem like you're getting enough sleep, but they ignore you anyway. Or, is your nutrition, good? But it's the normal teen stuff.
Mm-hmm. I always find it, talking about them driving, I always find it fascinating. I've coached sort of U16, 17, and 18s in that range for a while, and 16s you're still seeing a lot of the parents, and they're dropping their kids off, they're standing around the training and everything, they're watching your warm up. Then at 17 it tapers off a little bit, And then by the time you get to under 18, you never see the parents because kids
Yeah.
are all driving. The parents might show up for kickoff.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
might show up 5 minutes late.
I drove.
Hey, if this was before the call, I would have kicked him out by now. But I see I gave him a hug there. I was listening to Lucky about that constant engagement. So
when with my boys, because of our financial situation, Alex Park did a lot for us because Jalil was playing a couple of years up on his team, and when he'll go to the soft cup, I'm like, I'm not going. I already did that before. Lack of resources, so I put the boys. When Jammal and Sule had a tournament down there, we drove, and I'm thinking, this is crazy, Jammal.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and then of course the next we made it back, but the very next day in town, the car broke down. I'm like, thank you. So I'm not going anymore. We dodged that bullet. So Alex would go with Jalil. That was before all this touching the kids and all that and minor. So Alex would take him, and I'll give him money. I'll give Jalil money for food. He'll come back, and he'll hand over the $150 I gave him back to me. I'm like, you didn't eat? Oh, Coach Park took care of it.
Nice.
So it just a lot of people have helped us a lot. A lot of people have helped us.
God bless. That's cool. And then you know, and you still see it now. You know, I think that there's good people everywhere. Obviously, we don't hear enough about it, but they're all there, and it's nice to see that hand of help come out. Especially for those in need. Let's move on to the next question. So this will be based on how hard, obviously they made it. They to a very high level now, and they're still growing. But the question here is how often did you have to remind them or motivate them to put in extra work on their own time?
Not at all.
Not at all. Awesome.
For us, funny enough, for us, I think they grew up knowing about the community, so they have this sense that it's not just me. I'm representing something. I'm representing Davis. I'm representing, So I've never had that. Even when my boys were young and fasting, we would go, there's no game, we'll go on Russell Park on campus in the open field, and we'll just knock balls. And just a while away time. I'm trying to distract them from them watching the clock on when to break fast. So by the time they got to high school, my boys would play during Ramadan for the teachers, fasting.
I remember Jalil playing and he was fasting. Yeah, you don't even notice the difference.
So, but after a while, they once he turned pro, I told them they're paying you for this. You could.
We're losing you a little bit.
Too fast, and just make it up. After Ramadan, you can make it up. So that's how I was dealing with that, because it's not fair to people that are paying him to play, and then you going on the pitch not 100% prepared and ready to give it off. So, but when they were at the high school, yeah, they were fasting. They were fasting.
Wow.
Clarissa?
No. I have to admit, I never encouraged her to do extra. She's has a competitive nature. She wants to do well. She tried training, that there was a certain age where she knew other people were doing extra training. She checked that out once and said, that wasn't for me. We're good with that, So, nope.
Yeah, I think they're all just competitive. I remember Nikolai's teacher in Denmark called us in for a parent-teacher conference and asked us, "Are you guys competitive at home?" And we're like, "Well, we didn't think we were overly competitive. I mean, both Peter and I played soccer." And she said, "Well, Nikolai was crying because he wasn't the first one done with his math test." I'm like, okay. And she said, "That's a lot of that. You know, he has to be the first one." And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, we're not like that at home, but, you know, they just have that. I think all just have that competitiveness.
Yeah, so I was going to go on to say if there were ever any times that they didn't want to train, let's say, and then how did you handle that? Was there ever any times like that came about where they were, you know, either just needed a break or what may be, and
no, just for like I said, it wasn't a break from soccer. He needed sometimes a break from school, but never from soccer that I can.
We didn't have that issue either, because pretty much for us, soccer is the entertainment, is our escape, is how we kill time. So we didn't. I mean, I have to sometimes send them out of the house to go to the park, because here in Jammal, they'll turn the hallway into a field.
Yeah.
So. And it's a narrow space. So, but you as a parent, you're trying to get it now, and they hitting the ball on, like, guys, out, ita, and you tell them get out, go to the park.
You guys haven't been parents through COVID-19 yet, so come on, Dee and I'll be on the next one.
I'm doing it myself.
You don't have that luxury.
All right, so the next one here, it touches on your relationship. Okay, and the reason why I put this one down is because I've seen a lot of burnout. I know Robo, Jammal, and I'm sure you Clariza and Monica, you've seen this as parents too, where we have those parents who just drive at the kids, and then they burn them out by 14, 15. They're just done. They don't want to play anymore. One. Two, I've seen even families as the kids are older and young men, early 20s, and their relationships just bad because of how much they were pushed, and it stems from something, and I think learn, obviously for us as coaches, we get to see it, and we can be conscious of it, as parents now. But my question to you is, were you conscious of what kind of relationship you wanted with your son or daughter as you were going through this by trying not to burn them out? Or were you just kind of just going about it and, was it just naturally in you? Because you see that as you go. So were you conscious of what kind of relationship you wanted to build and have? I mean, now, like, let's say where they're at now?
Well, I think you always want to have a close relationship with your kids. But, like I said before, I never really pushed Nikolai. It was always, but for Nikolai, he always played. I mean, he loved the sport, but he also is a very social person. So he also played for the social part of it. All of his really best friends played, and honestly, he's been having kind of a rough time in the pros because it's not all friends. It's very different. They all have their own lives, and so he's struggled a little bit out there just on that social part of it. So
business too, huh?
Yeah.
How about you, Clariza? How about and were you conscious of how you approached the whole process, and not being the parent whoever does anything?
I don't think we were conscious of it in that, I was a mediocre runner, right? So, and I had a mom, pretty much a single mom household. but she worked all the time. So I ran, and I enjoyed training. I enjoyed the feeling of being fit. I enjoyed being on a team. I enjoyed getting in a car with some friends and having snack. So with Maya, I just wanted her to enjoy that too. And I know Rocky he was a 3 varsity sport high school athlete, and and his parents traveled all over Northern California following him. So, but the club environment was totally new to me. I think Rock did rec sports, so no club. We were new to the club environment. So, so it was just we just had to learn the ropes of it, and then and we didn't worry about burnout because we weren't worried about the future. We were just focused on this game the next week, what's going on with school. And so when I remember Adam saying to me, I don't know what age, but it was like, so colleges are going to start talking to her next year. And she was in junior high, right? And thinking, what? How is that? So even at that point, we didn't think about burnout because we were still trying to understand each stage. So you can't worry about burnout when you don't really comprehend the current stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when you're talking about growing up with a single mom, so did I. So I guess when I did sports, I lettered in 3 sports in high school as well. And my mom worked 2 jobs, so she never could come to any of my games. So in that respect, with the relationship to my kids, I always said, I'm going to go to every game I can. I'm going to be there because my mom wasn't. Not that she didn't want to be,
right.
But, it was sad for me.
Yeah. I share a similar story with you.
It was wonderful. Made it good.
So my story was growing up in Africa. My older sibling upraised me because my dad died when I was 5. And living with those older siblings in Africa is pretty much all chores. You do chores. So I would play soccer at school, but when the push come to trying out for high school team, I couldn't. My friend kept pushing, Jammal, we need you. So I fell for it. I went to the tryout, made the team, and then now I gotta go home and tell my older brother that I made the team. And I knew it's not gonna be a good answer, but when your friends are telling you, we need you, you fall for it. So I went and fell for it. So I got home and I told my brother, he's 25 years older than me, so I call him daddy. I said, oh, daddy, I traveled for the school and they want me to come help them. Before he went off, he goes, and who's gonna do yours? Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do this? But of course, the guilt kills you. So I'm like, okay. So I just pull. And I had to go back to my buddies at school the next day, like, no, I can't. So I promised myself that night when I went to bed that when I have my own kids and find I'm able to get abroad, I will teach them everything I know and I'll give them that opportunity. And that's what I did. And the boys already knew that story. So when they get on the pitch, they already know they were getting on the pitch to do what I didn't get opportunity to do. So that probably foiled them too. I don't know, but we'll never get bored doing it because they will always tell me, Daddy, can you show us how Mundalawal does this move? Can you teach us this move? So can you teach us Zagalo? Can you teach us Wademi? So we'll go out and we'll do that. So we never had to deal with burning out at all.
Good. Thank you. That's great feedback from all of you. So you all have multiple kids. And I see this too. Okay, I see either one that parents will, and this is a tough one because parents will compare, right? So if you have multiple kids, they're either comparing them to each other, okay, or even if it's just one, if it's a single, just a one child, they'll compare to themselves. And I personally think it's not a very good thing to do that. I think that, if you don't choose your words wisely there, again, you're going to affect the relationship you have with your own. Did you guys have, were you conscious of making sure that you didn't compare? Because I see a lot of respect amongst your kids, from your kids to you still. So it doesn't seem like you did much of it, but did that ever happen?
I'm sure it has. You don't do it consciously. I think also for me anyway, because I have a boy and a girl, it's not quite the same, because you don't really compare boys and girls. So, but I'm sure it's happened. But of course you try not to. I don't know if I had two of the same sex where you would say, why aren't you doing this like your brother? I don't know.
Clarissa, you had the twins. Was that? I'm sure it was kind of tough. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, not to compare, but just you
The balance.
other people's.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, talking about Aiden, you coached him, and he played soccer for a few years, and I was sad when he said, "I don't want to play anymore." But I'm thinking, just don't play baseball, please. But sorry, but he found his passion, and he played basketball and jumped at the high school, and he found his passion. He's so self-motivated right now. He's getting ready. Sac City's he's hoping they'll have a season next winter with all of this going on with COVID. But he's out there every day, 2.5 hours, lifting weights, shooting on his own at Harper. But
so you have a boy and a girl.
Yeah. So actually, I am conscious of it, very conscious of it, because Maya does get a lot of attention, and so she almost gets like no playtime at home, meaning attention. I wouldn't say not attention, but she gets so many accolades that we almost downplay it in the home because there's so much, and Aiden had a rough time with basketball in high school, being on the bench, and then he redeemed himself his senior year, and he taught us a lot. We said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He was really upset, and he said, "No. I know, his junior year. I know seniors who got no playtime at all," and he toughed it out his junior year. Literally played 14 seconds sometimes, and he got MVP his senior year. So. We
Wow.
Teach our kids, but towards the end, they teach us towards the end of high school, right? They're teaching us. Well, they teach us all the time, but he taught us a lot through that. So yes, I was conscious of it because I have twins.
And I'll chime in and say that Rocky being a good friend of mine, there's a lot of things that Maya got there's a lot of highlight reel moments, and Rocky would not really send me them, or every once in a while show him, but I've never seen him so proud when Aiden had that dunk video. He was showing that to everyone. When Aiden had these moments, he was showing them.
Right.
And I don't know a whole lot about basketball, but it looked pretty darn impressive what he was doing. So I think it was interesting just that same level of not appreciation, but he was very, very proud of Aiden's success at that point.
Yeah.
As well. So it was interesting.
For us, I was lucky that the boys have different skill sets. So that even when I brought my nephew Sule from Africa to join them, he has different skill sets too. So we ended up having in our household, we have a forward, a midfielder, and Jalil could play pretty much wherever we need to block the leakage is. So, but with Jalil, he enjoyed tagging along with them because when Jamil and Sule were at DHS, after their freshman year, sophomore year, they were already could play with the older boys, and Jalil would tag along. So there was never really competition. And when Jalil was blossoming, it was pretty much the handwork of Jamil and I, pretty much, because we're the one that would push him, and Jamil would show him stuff, because Jamil has the cerebral part of the game a lot on the pitch. So he will teach Jalil, like, you can't always play with emotion. You got to look at the angle of play. You got to set it up. So Jamil did bulk of that, and I do the you got to stick them kind of. So we were tag teaming him, and we were able to get away with it because we didn't have any female at home. Their mom was going to school out of state, so we could do all the manly stuff that we want, and he likes it. He takes it on. So in fact, Jamil and Sule's senior year at DHS, Jalil was a freshman at DHS, so he got to play with them on the varsity. So they once in a while you might see two Anibabas in the midfield, but they play different positions. Different positions. So we never, and their game is not similar, so you can't really do comparison. You can't do comparison. So we didn't have that.
Good deal. No, yeah, and I think obviously where they fall too. Obviously, we have twins. We have one either younger or older. How much the separation there is, whether there's how much bigger the family is, but again, we see these things, so and it does affect relationships and how the kids interact with others too. So no, that was really good feedback. I think you get to see a different side of it from all three of you. So we're way past our time, but I have one more question if you guys are willing to go with it, and it's just an ending question here, and can be as simple as you want, or you can be detailed. What advice would you give a parent raising an athlete now? We and times have changed, and they're evolving as they are, but with so much, just electronics and everything else involved. But what advice would you give either parent sideline, relationship, any of the things that we've touched on tonight that you think might really just hit and be important, or that you thought was key to your success in building a very good relation and foundation with your kids and your family?
Be supportive.
I'll go. I'll say. Go ahead, Monica.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think you were frozen there for a second, Jammal. So Monica, why don't you go ahead, and then Jammal, because I think Jammal was frozen. He didn't hear you.
I would say be supportive, definitely. But in that supportiveness, you need to be disciplined. I think parents nowadays are a little lenient. But so you have to be a little tough, supportive, be, I don't know. That's what I would say. Supportive, but disciplined. And I don't think if your kids really want to play, they'll play. You don't need to push them to it.
Yeah, that's good. That's really, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm done.
So my thing is, my advice I'll give people is don't overly plan it. In my household, I never sat one time with my boys to say, oh, and you're going to do this, and you're going to play pro, and you're going to play. We didn't do that. We just play. We play for the fun. We play for the fun of it. Because what I've realized especially with, yes, of all my three boys, Jalil took it the furthest. But what I've realized is that everything has to line up perfectly. Everything has to line up perfectly for it to go right. Meaning the kids has to want to play, the grades has to be there, all those, then character has to be there. So if the kid is good and psychologically he can hack it, Monica can tell you guys, when you get to the pro, if your mom has been emailing the coaches for you all along, she just sets you up for failure when you get to the next level. So if you've been lying and cheating and you don't want to play when you think the game doesn't count or whatever, and you're faking injury, it will catch up with you. So my thing is just play for enjoyment. Be a good person.
Right.
Be a good person. Contrary to what parents might think, the higher you go to the next level, the more insecure the coaches are. So if you live in Davis legacy and you think that's what you're going to get at the next level, I guarantee you, it probably won't be like that, because the coaches at the next level, they work in and their salaries on it, their health cap, things on it. So they're on edge themselves. So just play for enjoyment, have a work ethics, and be able to work, make sure nobody else outwork you. And above all, make your family as your main backbone. If anybody else is your backbone, you're gonna lose.
Very good.
Clarissa, any advice you'd give a parent raising an athlete?
I guess, yeah, that they're having fun. I mean, if they chose the sport and they're enjoying every moment, whether it's practice or just finished and taking their shoes off or getting in the car or going to the mall after a surf cup game, that if they're having fun, everything else will fall in place. And that we really learned through times of injury that I've always told Maya this, that that's just one part of you. And you realize that when you're injured, because when you can't play, what other things in your life have been developed? Whether that's relationships or other interests. When she had a concussion, I reminded her, man, I wish you kept that. I wish you played sax and piano. And so your other interests, because at any point, right, in college or in or playing pro, you can be injured at any moment. And then what do you have? What do you have for yourself? And I guess the other thing that I always remind myself and Maya when she's feeling down is, we're talking about the club environment, right? We're talking about college, that it's all a privileged experience.
Yeah.
That we can get hung up on the coach, the ref's call, or you're disagreeing with whatever in the situation. That, come on, people, we're all talking about a privileged situation. Mm-hmm. A privilege to watch your kids, a privilege to pay for a hotel, a privilege to go to a college that's, close driving distance from us, right? It's all a privileged situation.
Huge. I love to have these conversations of respect, appreciation, thankfulness, and just to be aware, and not only that, enjoy. I think, and this is my take so far, and my oldest is 12, is just to enjoy it. I'm the biggest fan, and I just sit out there and it's just it puts a smile on my face to watch them run around and do their thing, and just enjoy the moment. And we have, we all actually have some similar upbringings in terms of not having the parents there, and I was the same way, and I think it's part of what made me appreciate these moments and want to be there and just trying to soak it in. And grow with it, and the experiences that we live through and that we see, implementing those as well. But it's so nice to hear the appreciation side of it from all of you, and again, thankfulness. They're somewhat related, but such a cool thing. such a cool thing to hear, and I'm happy that we were able to do this. Robo, did you have anything to add?
No, just to echo that and say that, you know, I think especially in this current situation, and what would we give right now just to watch our kids play, you know? And it's what John Sullivan said, the magic words that you could say, I love watching you play. Just after any game, I love watching you play. Don't get in the car and dissect the game. Just them knowing that, the analogy he uses a lot is they love grandma coming to the game because they don't really know what's going on. They're just there to watch the kid. They're just there to cheer, you know. The grandparents going is a sweet thing, but just watching them play is a joy. And again, given this circumstance we're in right now, it's like, I think we'd all give a lot to just watch our kids do what they love. And Clariza, just while you were talking there, I just found this article, and I'm just going to share my screen because this one pretty much sums up. This is an interview Maya done, and if you just highlight this piece here, they don't get super involved to the point where it's annoying. Maya admitted they never yell at me on the field. They just let me go do my thing, and they've always been really supportive. So I think that like a simple paragraph sums it up really well. So that's a nice testament to your parenting and all of you. I mean, Jammal, you know how much respect I have for you, and I think I sent you a text after. I'll read it right now. After I spoke with Jalil last week, and I know that Jamil and you are close, but after getting off that call, I text you. I always respected you, but after listening to Jalil today, my respect for you is through the roof. Papa Jammal, father of the century. It was amazing to hear. It was amazing to hear that, and yeah, these are great examples, and you know. Deary, great idea. We'll get this. I'll edit it a little bit. Certain things, or not certain things, but I'll just edit it. It was very good, great content. We lost Lucky, but at the start when we had him, he was outstanding. So some really good advice there, and clear that his relationship with his son is tremendous as well.
I wanted to say one more thing that Jammal kind of touched on with being pro, or, you know, just if your parents are doing everything for you and you're going into the pro, you've already failed. That being supportive is not doing everything for them. With Shannon, for example, she was having a problem with her coach. And I told her, well, if you're having a problem, you need to go to him and ask him, you know, what you need to do to play. So, you know, being supportive and pushing them in the right direction, but not doing it for them, because they need to be, what's the word in English? They need to be strong. They need to be able to stand on their own 2 feet to be out there. So.
Yeah, great advice.
Thank you, Clarissa. And I'm sorry. I hope I didn't cut you off there when as you were talking. But and you know, I did want to make sure I touched on that. Oh, she's gone.
I think she cut herself off.
Oh, did she? All right. Well, Monica, Jammal, and obviously if Clarissa and Lucky, I'm sure they'll get a chance to see this. Thank you all for taking the time. Obviously,
she's coming back in. She'll want to say bye.
Yeah.
Hello.
I guess it's time to end because my computer died.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Is it something we said? Yeah, we're just rounding up.
I was apologizing. I hope I didn't cut you off, but I again, just touching on those things, and those are just key words to me with life, and you know, being appreciative of things, and just wanted to make sure. Did you have anything else to say before we break? No. Okay. Well, again, thank you all. I appreciate your time. I know Robo does. I'm hoping that this little video that we just shot there will help out our club. I know, you know, we as parents, Robo and I, can take a lot from it. You know, raising the little ones right now, and you know, just super thankful. I'm happy to have Crossroads and have had you guys as part of my life, and you know, and again, we learn from everybody. Thank you. I greatly appreciate you guys.
No, and I want to thank you guys. I will say that is one thing that has been consistent with every age group with both of my kids. I don't, from the top down with that email that's sent every year, at least at one part of the season, which is just as you mentioned, Robo, that article that talks about you get in the car with your kid, you want to tell them that you enjoyed watching them play. I mean, I think that it's the culture. So, you're giving us credit. That's nice. But we are guided also by the coaches in the club. So I've been thankful for that.
Yeah. Nikolai had some really good coaches.
It takes an army. It takes an army, and we're all part of this. But thanks, guys. This has been phenomenal. I've learned a lot. I can honestly say, when my son walked into the room for the second time, I didn't kick him out after listening to you guys. I gave him a hug, and right in the middle of my meeting. So before he would probably get the stiff arm. So I've improved as a parent in the last hour. So there you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Say hi to the family for me.
It's nice seeing you guys.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.